Okay, we've got another example. We got 6x squared plus 2x plus 4 divided by 3x plus 1. So when you approach this type of example, if you're on a test or whatever and you say, okay, what type of problem is this? You look on the bottom and you see that there's two terms, two pieces separated by addition or subtraction. So I'm thinking, okay, I got to do a long division on this type of problem. So what we can do is we can say, let's say in the tutor mode, same type of process as the previous example. You're going to set up the long division format, and you're going to look at the front values, and you're going to say, okay, make sure it's in the right order, right? You got descending order of power, descending order of power. So you say, okay, 3x times what gives me 6x squared. They've arranged the question differently. They say 6x squared divided by 3x gives you what? So the answer is the same either way. You could say that the x's, you're going to subtract a 1 from the 2. There'll be 1x left on top. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I could say 2x. And 2x is going to be the value that's going to start this answer. Okay, the first part of the answer is you're going to have a 2x, and that's going to go up top, right there. And then the 2x gets multiplied with the 3x, the 2x gets multiplied with the 1. So they show that over here, and they show you that the result is 6x squared plus 2x. 6x squared plus 2x goes right here underneath, but instead of 6x squared plus 2x, we're subtracting those, so it would change the signs, and when you add the columns, which they don't do a good job of showing, you've got to imagine the negative sweeps in here, and that becomes negative 6x squared. Combining with this, you get 0. 2x and a negative 2x is what you'd have after you distribute. You get 0 there, so 0 is what you're going to get when you add all those columns up. This is kind of weird because you still have the 4 over here. Okay, so when we drop that down, which they're going to show, I believe. Okay, so they kind of do some of the work for you here and say, the 4 drops down, and they say, thus we divide the remainder 4 by the divisor 3x plus 1, and enter the complete answer in the box below. So this is what you identify. You say, okay, I know I have a remainder at this point because 3x, x to the first is a higher power than what you have over here, which there is no x, right? So once you have a lower power of x down here than you do over here, you're talking about having a remainder. So what you do with your remainder is you're going to tack it onto your answer by having that be the top of a fraction and the bottom of the fraction being the number you were dividing by, 3x plus 1. So in other words, look what we have written up there, 2x. Okay? What I'm adding to that is a fraction where my remainder is the top number and my divisor, 3x plus 1, is the bottom number. Okay, and you think about this, if I had you in the classroom, I'd show you that this is the same as other types of long division with regular numbers. It's the same process of converting a number from improper fraction to a mixed number. You always have the remainder divided by what you were originally dividing by. Alright, so this should be correct. Okay. This is a good example to do next. Let me check my time here. Looks like we've got some time. So let's go right to the tutor mode. And my observation about this problem, and they're going to spell it out for you right here. I see that with x cubed take away 8, what's different about this example than the first video or the example that I just did is that it jumps right from x to the third power all the way to a constant of negative 8. There's nothing about x squared. There's nothing about x to the first. So when you're missing that information, what you need to do is you need to have placeholders so that when you do your long division, you don't get all crooked and screw up some of your calculations. So they've done that down here where they said x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x take away 8. They're saying put in some placeholders for those values that are missing, and that way you're going to keep everything lined up. So if I say, what times x gives me x cubed? The answer to that would be x squared. They ask the question differently. They say x cubed divided by x is what? So type that in. Say x squared is the first piece of our answer. Okay, that first piece goes up above where the answers go. X squared gets multiplied with x, and they'll multiply with -2, which they do off to the side over here. They find x cubed minus 2x squared. That's what goes underneath. And see how this placeholder keeps things lined up. Okay, there's a place for this squared term to go. So with the negative distributed, this would be a negative x cubed. That would cancel with the positive x cubed like it should. This guy will be a double negative, so you're going to end up with a positive 2x squared combined with 0x squared, which is a positive 2x squared. Okay, so that's what's kind of confusing about their work a little bit. You've got to distribute this, and you're going to show this on your paper that this becomes a plus, and that will end up making this whole thing plus. Okay, that's correct. And so that's what you've got right here. I'm surprised that they're not dropping down the rest of this stuff like they did on the last problem, but that's okay. Basically, the front value is what we need to focus on anyway, where you'd say, okay, repeat the process. What times x gives me 2x squared? Or in other words, 2x squared divided by x is what? Well, that would be 2x. That's going to get added to the x squared you have already got up top. Okay. And then when you multiply the 2x that you just got with x and -2, you're going to end up with 2x squared minus 4x, like you do over here. Okay, change the signs, add the columns. You're going to end up with a plus 4x added to a 0x. These guys would cancel, right? So just a plus 4x with a 0x is a plus 4x. That's what we'd have there. Okay. And dropping down the -8, they say repeat the process one more time with the front values. What times x gives me 4x, or 4x divided by x is what? That's 4. 4 is going to go up top, added to the other stuff. 4 multiplies with x, 4 multiplies with -2. We get that right there. And when you change both the signs, you end up with a remainder of 0. Okay. So as a final answer, that stuff up top is the only answer we've got, because the remainder of 0 means we don't have to tack on a fraction at the end of the problem. So x squared plus 2x plus 4 would be your answer.